Hello and welcome to this Laravel tutorial series where we will make a content management system in Laravel. Now to get started you will have to download Composer, which is a dependency manager for PHP, which we will be using to install our Laravel. We will need Node.js, which we will use to install extra components in our Laravel. So if you download and install both Composer and Node.js, and what I'll be using is XAMPP for our PHP and our Apache. So if you install XAMPP, Composer and Node.js, then we're ready to roll. Now we'll need our XAMPP running, but that's all we need so far. The next thing we'll need is our command prompt. So if we have Composer and Node.js installed, we can check to see here if we do have Composer. So if we type in Composer, and there we go, we should have this displayed, which lets us know that Composer is installed and we are ready to run. And seeing as we are using XAMPP, we need to navigate to the XAMPP folder. So if we just do cd ... come out into users, then cd ... come out into our C drive, then cd XAMPP /htdocs. That should take us to the correct folder. So we are inside our XAMPP htdocs folder. We'll be using FileZilla in order to navigate to the files. You can use anything you want really. I'm using XAMPP and Notepad++ because if you use anything more complicated, my video and my audio tend to drop out, so I'll be using some simple stuff to make sure everything works properly. So here in our FileZilla, this is our htdocs site, but we need to install a Laravel in here. So if we are inside our XAMPP htdocs, we can then get started. The very first command we need to run is down here, and that's to require our Laravel installer. So if we copy this line here, and then if we paste this straight into here and then click enter, that will install the Laravel installer. Now I don't need to do that because I've already done that. So to check that I do have that, if we just type in Laravel and click enter, we have information regarding the Laravel that we have installed. So we have our Laravel installer here. The next thing we can do is install a Laravel. So inside the command prompt, we want this command here, Laravel, new Laravel, and here this will be the name of our application. Now just now I'm going to just put it in a folder called Laravel. So if we do Laravel, new Laravel, and click enter, that should then install a Laravel inside our XAMPP htdocs folder. This may take a couple of minutes to do. So there we go, we have a Laravel installed. That only took a couple of minutes to do. So if we come into FileZilla and refresh this here, we should have an extra folder called Laravel. Inside of Laravel, we now have our full Laravel install. This is everything we need in order to build something inside Laravel. So we have a start. So if we check inside, if we go to localhost on our machine, that will give us our XAMPP dashboard. And if we just check here and type in Laravel, we should get a folder structure that gives us our whole Laravel install. Now our Laravel is really inside public. So localhost /Laravel /public. Now we want to change that so as we have a temporary domain here with a secure certificate, so that then we can run our site properly on our localhost and we won't get any errors because we're not running on a secure certificate, you see. So we'll do that next. So in order to sort out our temporary domain for our localhost, we want to come into our C drive, XAMPP, then we want to come inside Apache, we want to be inside our conf folder, then inside extra, and then we want to open this file here, our httpd vhosts.conf. So if we edit this file, come all the way down the bottom of the file. Now here I already have 2 entries in here. We will need this one here, so you want to copy this one. We want a virtual host, which points to our document root, which is our C drive, xampp, htdocs. The server name will be localhost, so we'll have a localhost here. But we want an extra one, which will be similar to this. Now this one is set up for my test site, which is what I use to test stuff before I write a tutorial. But we do need an extra one. And that extra one is this one for our Laravel install that we have called Laravel. Now here we'll point our document root to our C drive, xampp, htdocs, Laravel, public, which if we look inside here would be this folder here. So our Laravel public file, which is inside our xampp htdocs. So xampp htdocs Laravel public, and we want to give that a domain name. And the domain name we'll be using just now is laravel.test. So if we have this one right here, and we have this one here for our localhost, and I have this extra domain here because I have 2 installs. I have a test site where I test stuff, and the Laravel test where I do the tutorials. So if you have the localhost and the Laravel, which has the appropriate folder name on it, and we have a domain name to use here, we can save this file. And the next thing we want to do is come back into our C drive again, then into Windows, and if we come down into System32, which is down here, so C drive, Windows, System32, drivers, etc, and we want to open this hosts file here. So we want to open this hosts file inside C, Windows, System32, drivers, etc. So I'll just move some windows about so we can see things properly. So if we open our hosts file here, we want to add in, first of all, this line here, which is for our localhost, so 127.0.0.1, and that'll point to our localhost. Now we want another one of these as well for our Laravel install, so we want 127.0.0.1, and we want to point that to our laravel.test domain. Now I have my test domain here as well, so you won't need that one, but we will need that one here and this one here. So if we have this here and save this, I should have saved that as administrator, and I don't know if it has or not. We'll just open that again. Now if it doesn't save this, you might need to open your notepad in administrator or as administrator in order to make this save this file. Now sometimes it will tell you that if you haven't opened Notepad++ in administrator and you go to save it, it will ask you if you want to redo this set as administrator in order to save the file. Now we seem to have that file saved properly, so we can move on to the next stage. So in the next stage, if we restart our Apache and we restart our browser as well, so now we have a browser restarted and Apache has been stopped and restarted again. We can check this temporary domain here to see if that works. So we'll copy this, come into our browser, and if we add in a Laravel test here, we get our public directory, and everything seems to be working perfectly fine. Now if you look here, we're only running on HTTP, we do not have HTTPS, so we need to sort that before we do anything else. And how we do that is by opening another window, because we need 2 files to download. So if we go to this site here, shellcreeper.com/how to create valid SSL and localhost for xampp, and we can follow this right here. But the important thing in this page here is the 2 files that are offered for download that we will need, which are these 2 files here, which are on GitHub. So our cert.conf, if we just download that file, and our make cert.bat, if we download that file too, and then extract them from the zip files, we need to put those two files, this one and this one, in the appropriate place. So if we come back into our C drive again, and then into XAMPP and Apache, we want to make a folder in here called CRT. Now I've already made this folder here, so if we come inside CRT, I already have our make cert bat and our cert.conf. Now this test.site folder here has already been created for our secure certificate for our test site. Now we'll be doing exactly the same here for our laravel.test. And how we do that is once we've created our CRT folder inside XAMPP Apache, place the two files that you've downloaded from GitHub, so this file here and this file here. Once you've extracted them from the zip files, if you place them in this folder that we have just created, which is inside XAMPP Apache called CRT, place those two files in here, we can edit this file. This will create us our secure certificate. Now the only things we really need to do here are change our domains. So here on line 25, I already have that sorted, so we have our laravel.test, which is the domain that we will be using. And if we come down this page all the way to the bottom, our DNS record points to laravel.test. Now, because this is just our localhost and not an actual secure certificate, we can leave all these details exactly as they are. So we don't need to change any of them. The only thing we need to change is the domain name we are using, which is laravel.test. And we want to do that in these two places. So line 25 and line 51, add in the domain that you wish to use, which can be any because it's on a localhost. So it doesn't need to be a real domain. So you can use anything you want here, provided that they match everywhere. So if we save this file, and that will save that to here again, then the next thing we can do is just double click on our make cert, and that should launch us this window. Now we can just add in the details we have. So laravel.test for the name of our domain. That will start generating things, and then the next stage, all we need to do is just add in the information that is in these brackets. So 2-letter codes would be US. Our state or province full name would just be NY. And city name will be New York, because this is just a temporary secure certificate on our localhost. Company example, and the domain again is Laravel test. So laravel.test. Email address is just test@example. And the certificate was provided. Press any key to continue. And if we look in here, we now have a laravel.test folder. If we come inside there, we have a server and a server key file. So if we double click on this server file here, and if we click install certificate, and we want to install it on our local machine, and we want to click yes here, and here we want to place all the certificate in the following store, and we want to choose trusted root certification authorities, and then click OK. And if we click next and then finish, the import was successful and our certificate has been installed. If we come back into our C drive, then into Windows and System32 again, and then if we go into drivers, the Windows System32 drivers etc, and if we open our hosts again, we already have our domain name in here. We have one more file to edit. So if we come back into our C drive and into XAMPP, Apache, conf, extra, we want to open our httpd xampp.conf. So if we open this and come down to the bottom of the file, we have a wee bit to add in. Now here I already have one added in for our test site. We want to do exactly the same here, but for our new Laravel install. So here we'll have an extra entry here that will declare our laravel.test. So we'll have our virtual host tags, and inside here our document root should point to our C drive, xampp, htdocs, laravel, public. And our server name will be Laravel test. The server alias will be .laravel.test. And underneath that, we will need the part for our security certificate. So again, document root, C drive, xampp, htdocs, laravel, public. Our server name is laravel.test. Our server alias is .laravel.test. And here we want to make sure our SSL engine is on, and our certificate is pointing to exactly where our certificate is, which is inside the CRT folder that we created and inside the laravel.test folder that was created when we ran our installation for our key. So if we have this wee piece here inside our http dxampp.conf, and save that file. And if we come back onto our Laravel here, what we want to do is restart our Apache, and we want to restart our browser. So now that we have our browser restarted, we have an Apache stopped and restarted again. Now what we can do here is go to https laravel.test, and we should have an installation with a secure certificate. There we go, we have our Laravel test running with a wee green padlock. So we have our Laravel installed, we have a temporary domain sorted, and we have a secure certificate on our localhost. Now we have another couple of jobs to do in this video. So if we come into xampp and click on admin for our SQL, that will take us to our phpMyAdmin. Now here we want to create a database called Laravel. All you have to do is click new and then create a new database with the name of Laravel, and that will create a wee empty database that I have got right here. So we have a Laravel database, and just now I don't have a password for this database because we are on our localhost. And I'll show you, if we come into FileZilla, come into the root of our site, come down to our .env file, and if we open this, inside here we have our database connections. Now just now it is called Laravel, and we will be connecting to it using the root and without a password. And just now if we just click on SQL admin and get taken to our phpMyAdmin, if we create this database right here, just by clicking new and adding the details in, that should create a database that has a user of root and doesn't have a password, and our database is called Laravel. So by leaving this exactly the way it is and then creating our database via phpMyAdmin on our localhost, that should already be sorted, and our Laravel should be able to find the database we have made. Now that is important because we have things to do in the database. And if we have our database here, if we come back into our terminal again, and I'll paste this wee line in here, which is php artisan migrate. And if we run the very first migrate that we have here, that should create the database tables we need for our login system. So php artisan migrate, if we hit enter, no, we need to be in the appropriate file, don't we? So we actually need to cd into our Laravel install. That may help. So cd Laravel, and now we are inside the appropriate file or folder. Now we can run our artisan command. So php artisan migrate, and that should work now because we are inside our Laravel install. So there we go, we now have a migration done, and if we check in phpMyAdmin again and refresh this Laravel database, we should have tables. There we go, we have our users, we have our password resets, we have a migration and a failed jobs. So we have some tables to get us started with our login system. In order to create the files for our login system, which will give us a login and register button up here, and the controllers will be done for us, how we do that is like this. So if we can back into our command prompt again, we want to run another one, which is composer require laravel /UI --dev. And if we run this, so this should start installing the parts we need to be able to create our login and register pages. So again, this will take a couple of minutes, so if we just be patient and wait for this to finish. So there we go, now we have extra components installed, we have a wee bit more to do. So inside our command prompt, we want to run another PHP artisan, and this one is UI view --auth, and this will build a login system for us. So if we hit enter and let this run, this should create everything we need. There we go, review scaffolding is installed, and it's now asking us to run npm install and npm run dev. Now I'll show you the reason why it's doing that. If we come on to our Laravel install, and if we hit refresh, there we go, we now have a login and a register button. Now if we click our login button, we have a login page, but it isn't styled properly at all. Now in order to get our styling to work properly, this is why we need to install npm and run npm run dev, because that will compile our CSS for us. Now if we have Node.js installed on our machine, then running npm install will be fine. If you don't have Node.js installed, if you run npm install, it will say we don't know what that command means. So if you get an error saying we don't know what this command means from your command prompt, you don't have Node.js installed. So what you want to do is download Node.js, install that, then run npm install in here, making sure you're inside the correct folder. So examp htdocs laravel, and we want to npm install here. So if we click enter, that should install npm for us, and then we can use that to compile our CSS. Now while I explain the compiling process in future videos, just now we just want to get our install up and running, so we'll just flash through this quite quickly. As you can see here, our installer is installing stuff, but it will take a few minutes. There we go, now we have npm installed. The next thing we can do is npm run dev. So npm run dev, and that should build our style sheets for us. And if we just wait for the npm run dev to finish compiling everything for us, once again this may take a couple of minutes. And there we go, our Laravel install has successfully compiled all of our CSS for us. Now if we come back onto our site again and refresh this, we should have a fully styled page. There we go, we have a properly styled page, we have a login and register page, and a forgotten password page. So we have the basics to get started. We have our Laravel install running on a temporary domain with a secure certificate that we have set up for our local host. We have our login and our register controllers and models built for us, and we have our CSS compiled. We also have npm installed, and we are now ready to start building things properly. So in the next video, we'll change our main page, we'll build a main page controller, and we'll start building our pages and our posts and our products functions. So we'll call it a day for today and carry on in the next video. So if you like this video, please click subscribe, and I'll see you again next time. Thank you.